Everyone, this is Jaeger here with Brusher's Toys, and today we are going to actually start diving through the Jurassic World line from Mattel. So in our previous videos, we've already talked about the Kenner and the Hasbro Jurassic Park Tyrannosaurus Rexes, and we've compared them to the scale, to the size, showing the Jurassic Park through Jurassic Park 3. Now, like I told you guys in our previous videos, if you haven't watched those already, we do not have any of the Jurassic World line. We have the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and the Dominion, as well as the new Jurassic World Rebirth and the Hammond Collection. However, I don't have any of the Jurassic World T-Rexes, so we're not going to use those. And like I've said in previous videos, I don't own every single Jurassic Park, Jurassic World Tyrannosaurus Rex, so I don't have a scale to show you of all those toys. But what we can do is show you guys with the 93 and 94 figures, as well as the Mattel size, how well they scale compared to the 93 original Tyrannosaurus Rex that started it all. So what I'd like to do is in this video, we're going to go through the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom as well as the Rebirth. And then what we'll do is we'll go into our Legacy and Hammond Collection. Now, with the Fallen Kingdom, I can show you guys. We'll pick on one of the Colossals. We'll actually pick on the Dominion Colossal when we do the Dominion to show it compared to the Omega T-Rex and the Bull T-Rex. But what I'm going to do first is let's start off with going with the Fallen Kingdom Thrash and Devour. I really think that this was, Mattel came out swinging out the gate with the Fallen Kingdom line. I thought it was fantastic. I loved the detail. I loved what they did with the figures. However, one of the things that I noticed with this figure specifically is I was able to find these at Target for maybe $10. And the problem was a lot of them were broken. So one of the things that I had a hard time with was the packaging, because I believe Mattel really didn't want to put them in more of a secure packaging, so you were able to actually play with them in the store. Well, there were a lot of people breaking them on purpose, I believe. And one of the things that I noticed with this is like the batteries did not hold up. Like, guys, I've shown you in previous videos, some of my dinosaurs have the original batteries, or if not, like 10-year-old batteries in them, and haven't had an issue. But like this figure here was one of my favorite. It actually is one of my favorite ones that Mattel has ever released, because this is the one that started it all, I believe, in my opinion, of where they were starting to do the T-Rexes. With this figure here, let's just start. We'll compare it to the size, and you can see it is just about on scale. I noticed one of the things with this figure, though, is it reminds me so much of this figure. Look at the tail and look at the scale. So tell me, like, when you look at this, tell me that they did not try to mimic the Thrasher. Look at the tail, look how it curves, look at the arms, and look at the face. And so they retooled it. And what I liked with this is, we'll set the Thrasher here. What I really liked with this figure was the overall scale, the detail, and I liked the fact that it was able to devour the figures, you know, so you could grab the figure. Let's see if I can, you know, shove Muldoon in there, you know, and then, you know, have that Thrash devour. I thought this was such a cool figure. One of the things is, I think that killed the battery though is I noticed that I think my wife's that she picked up kept going off, even though there was like, it was still in the box, and it was just going off, you know, in one of the boxes, and I thought that was really odd. But I think that might have been what killed the battery. But I really thought that this was such a cool figure. There is no rubber on this, however, guys. Well, I take that back. The rubber is the arm, excuse me. The rest of it is just hard plastic. I really like the detail. I did like that the mouth had this cool jaw movement. But like I said, again, the gimmick here was this always broke in the middle there. I did like that Mattel was able to actually capture the detail, the scars. And I didn't understand. The only thing that I was not a fan of with this was the paint. I didn't understand the coloring, like why they went with this color. and they could have went with like this color. You know, they could have went with the Rex of the original, or even went with like a Thrasher. I really think Mattel should re-release this as like a real feel, you know, with the same features. I think this would be such a cool T-Rex. You know, I think the feet, everything balances just right. But what we'll do is now we'll grab the Legacy collection that came out with that line. And so this was like, as I call it, the purple T-Rex, because it came in the purple box, you know, and came with the re-release of the Jurassic Park line when Mattel took it over. And I thought it was a really cool figure. Now this one is the retool where the tongue doesn't stick straight out. I do have that version too where the tongue was sticking straight out. But this was the their version of the original T-Rex. So I believe that they were trying to match this guy and then, you know, go with that. But I always thought that when you look at like this T-Rex and they said that they were matching in scale, one of the things that got me is I always thought it was supposed to be like this T-Rex, you know, like this was their juvenile, because this was supposed to be the mainline T-Rex for the redoing of the Jurassic Park Legacy collection. And I just was not, I don't know, guys, like I always thought that it should have been about this size, like not this size. I just didn't understand that part of it, because I always thought of it as like a juvenile T-Rex. And I mean, one of the things that was really interesting is even the price point, you know, like the price, like there wasn't that much of a price difference, but this dinosaur here just, I thought was really cool when it released. And then the more that I looked at it, I just thought it was very simple, because again, the paint job, right? The paint job, you have the T-Rex, you know, and the only feature there was that. The arms are rubber on this, again, just like the Thrash and Devour. However, the rest is plastic. And I just look at it, and like scale-wise, here it is compared to Grant, you know, and yeah, like not there. And then here it is compared to Muldoon, you know, just like that. And like I said, it feels like it's a baby T-Rex to me, like, or juvenile. I guess I shouldn't say baby. But then you have it compared to, you know, the original, and you can see just scale-wise, just, you know, to me it reminds me of the juvenile T-Rex. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you agree with that? But again, like it was some of the paint on here that I just was not, you know, the biggest fan of. I just didn't like the color, and I know that they retooled it, and we'll go through that. But what I really liked was that action feature there. So, you know, then what we have is one of my favorite releases was the Dominion T-Rex. I like the paint on this. I like the detail. I couldn't be more excited to get this dinosaur. I just really liked the paint on here because it changed it. You know, you can see the scale-wise on here. It's a really cool figure. I like that they fixed it, but like I've shown you guys, like this is one of my biggest gripes is anytime you do the legs just go off instantly. Like I don't even, you know, I don't know if something's broke on there in mine. If you guys know more about it, let me know. I'd love to send it back to Mattel and have them fix it, because I think that this is really one of the coolest T-Rexes they've ever put out because of the paint and just the overall look. Scale-wise, you can see, I love that it can eat the figure whole, which, think about it, I just showed you guys that figure is not, that Muldoon figure doesn't even fit in there. And then like Grant, you see, like with the 93, 94 figures, you know, let's have him eat original Alan Grant, you know. So you can see it still scales pretty well with them. And then like, I liked the detail, you know, the gimmick was basically a redo version of of the thrash and devour to the, you know, to the thrash and throw, thrash and throw, thrash and devour. And I really like the fact that they went and retooled it, gave you a different sculpt, like the head's a lot wider, you know, the paint, they went with a better paint on here. The scars, you've got more claws on there, more claw marks. And what's really cool is look at this, like size-wise, you can see it scales well with the very first one. Like I said, it's one of those things where I was just like, I feel like the feature, like mine is broke right there, but Dominion had a really cool toy line. And one of the things that I'm gonna make a video on in itself, but I will just go into it a little here, is I feel like they never finished the toy line. They could have released another T-Rex. They could have released more T-Rexes for just Dominion, but I felt this way for a while, but I feel like when Mattel releases the toys for the Jurassic World movie, it's all like thrown out right around the movie to a month or month and a half afterwards, and that's it. And then they're done, and then they're on to the Chaos Theory or the Netflix toy line. And I wish that they would actually like release play sets, go and continue to do play sets. Like I rewatched Dominion, and I forgot like how many figures they could have made. They could have made Henry Wu. They could have made like Grant in like the bug suit. They could have done more figures and more features, and they could have done like another T-Rex with a real feel or something like that. And that's just where I'm at, is I'm like, man, that's why I only have this T-Rex from Dominion, because they didn't release any others, you know. And I really like, I'm a huge T-Rex fan, you know. I love the T-Rexes, and like, you know, you can see scale wise, like I never have complained about like, oh man, they don't stand. No, they stand great. Mattel has that figured out, but it's like they don't give the T-Rexes or even the toy line from the movies a lot of love. I feel like, just like with Rebirth coming out, you know, we've got probably just the 2 T-Rexes, you know, and like I said, we'll go into that in a separate video, but, you know, let's compare this one. You know, you see this, look at this. This was the main line for the re-release of the Jurassic Park when they launched the toy line. You tell me this is your flagship T-Rex going from this to this. You could have done something like this to this, just like this. They could have easily have done something with the Thrasher T-Rex for the Dominion line. I would love, guys, if they just re-release, like, my thing is I think, honestly, you know, since Mattel has a license, instead of retooling those things, if they could just redo the molds and re-release these from the 90s with the packaging and the rubber and all that, and give everyone a chance to get these toys that they weren't able to get in the 90s, I guarantee you stuff would fly off the shelves. I really believe in that. But you guys can see, like, back to the Dominion line, that's what I thought was really cool, was these figures here. So what we're gonna do, this is gonna end part 3 of our video series. In the next video, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna go through the Jurassic Park, the 93, the Hammond collection, and up to Rebirth. So what we'll do is, that's in the next video, we'll show the scale size in there with all the figures that we have so far, as well as the Super Colossal. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. If there's a certain video that you're looking for us to make, we will gladly make it. Just post it in the comment section, and we'll get that out there for you all.